Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching unless you're incredibly hot. Welcome to Monday's edition of the DC Multiverse Daily. And on today's show, we are going to discuss how Batman vs. Superman changed everything. Are you feeling charitable? Then smash the subscribe button and the like button. And please do follow me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad. Yes, Batman vs. Superman is the movie that changed everything cinematically for the industry. Now, publicly, they were all saying what a terrible film this was. But without Batman vs. Superman, then Feige wouldn't have had the guts to do what he did with Infinity War, and basically Logan would never have happened just under a year later. Amazing, really, because everyone gives Logan this great credit, but without Batman versus Superman, it would never have happened. I find Man of Steel really interesting in this discussion, because Man of Steel really is a popcorn chomping flick. It is actually more mainstream than people give it credit for. It has a beginning, middle, and ending. It is A New Hope. It does have some deeper themes than A New Hope does, but ultimately it has drama. It has a great catastrophic invasion, but it does finish with smiles and a happy ending. Now, Batman versus Superman is literally, if we're talking in Star Wars dialect, The Empire Strikes Back on acid. This film isn't interesting in sugarcoating anything about the universe that Snyder is setting up. It really is, it's racism, isn't it? It's commentary about that nihilistic racism we see every day. People are literally hating on Superman after he saved the world. Let's not forget that. He saved the world, but people start to see him as a danger and a threat. And Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg, really amps that up. You know, because this guy, Luthor, has cleaned up Metropolis. So in the public's eyes, he's this kind of savior. And that's what Luthor wants. He wants to be the savior of the people, or he wants to be seen that way. And Superman, this alien threat that really has to be guarded against. And we see that in Bruce Wayne's, a.k.a. Batman's, behaviour throughout most of the films, until he realises the error of his ways near the end of the movie. And so you've got this movie, really, a really daring film. Now, what Batman versus Superman truly does, it says, we don't have to be basic. We don't have to just have basic superhero films. They don't just have to be a mainstream, bright colour kind of film. They can be something deep, and they can have big commentary on the world today. In fact, Batman versus Superman is like living in COVID, isn't it? That's what it's like when you look at the kind of world it is, and the attitudes towards something different, something unique. And it's interesting, actually. The commentary, the reaction to the film is very similar to the commentary on Superman in the film. I think that's kind of fascinating, really, when you look at it. It doesn't matter how many times I see this film, I kind of look at it and think, bloody hell. When you look at the reaction to the film and you see what's going on in the film, it's very, very similar. And I just feel the film is a standard bearer for doing something different. And people were kind of, hardcore DC fans were very against this film because it basically didn't have Superman, saving a cat from a tree. Now, I come from the culture of Superman the movie, Christopher Reeve. I wouldn't be wearing this top or talking about DC every single day, right? And that's the thing. But I've got those films. I don't want them repeated. I don't need them repeated. I think J.J. Abrams may repeat that formula a little bit when he does his Superman movie, which is absolutely almost certainly happening and coming. But the core of this film is, and the core that what Snyder's doing is, he's basically, Superman has to earn the right to become the big blue Boy Scout that he becomes. And I think that's the difference. It's not, I think with Reeves' Superman, it's very, very easily earned. He grows up in Smallville, the fortress rises, he puts on the costume, and he's already this pure-hearted character. Now, Cavill is quite pure-hearted as Clark and Superman, as Cal, but there is something else deeper going on within this guy. He doesn't know. That's the difference. He doesn't know what he's supposed to become. He's told by both of his fathers certain different things. Jonathan rightly says you're going to have to make a choice. You're either going to have to hide for the rest of your life, or you're going to have to, show the world who you are. And you literally showing the world who you are will change the world. Jor-El says, that at first they will stumble. Basically, what happens in BVS, people stumble, and most of them turn on Superman. But ultimately, once he sacrifices himself, they will stand with you or follow you in the sun, or however Russell Crowe says it in Man of Steel. So, in the context of in the structure of a superhero movie, this is a superhero that has to actually earn the right to earn people's trust. People didn't like that because of what they've seen in the past. I think Smallville did a good job of Clark earning the right to become a superhero. And Smallville earned the right to become a superhero show. So I think Smallville and the Snyderverse are very similar in terms of that, of saying you can't just become this hero just because he was created in 1938 and people like, the big blue Boy Scout, right? This is a guy who has the mentality of a human being, who is not a human being, and he's kind of led different directions by his father Jor-El and his adoptive father Jonathan Kent, and he doesn't really know whether he's coming or going. I think that incident in Man of Steel in the bar, when he's trying to stick up for the young barmaid, and the guy's going at him, and when the guy goes to hit him, he knows, fuck, he's tough, but he still puts on the tough act, and Superman there, Clark, has to decide whether he could easily just kill the guy at that point. But what Clark does, and this is very, very Superman, by the way, he takes the higher ground, kind of, because he goes out and he destroys his truck. How did he even know that was his truck, by the way? Never mind, we don't need to know everything, do we? But yeah, I like that bit in the bar because it shows that he is actually the Superman we've been reading in the comics all our lives, because he takes the higher ground. He keeps a lid on his temper. And I do think at that time, and I think Cavill does play really well in Man of Steel, is, I could fucking kill you, mate, but I'm not going to, because I'm better than you. I'm not you. You're enraged with hate. You are basically treating this young lady as an object. You are a disgrace and you are disgusting. But beating the shit out of you doesn't change you. Basically, all it's going to do is kill you and hurt you, and then you wouldn't have learned a thing. And that's the thing with Superman since he was created in 1938. We learn so much from our own humanity through Superman. And Batman vs. Superman really tells the story of acceptance. But Superman has to earn that acceptance. And what's really rough on this character, he literally has to sacrifice his own life for people to accept him for this hero that he clearly is, for this good person that he clearly is. But this isn't the perfect Clark Kent. This isn't the perfect Superman in terms he's human. He's fallible like the rest of us. He makes mistakes. In Man of Steel, he loses his temper when he sees Zod attacking his adoptive mother, Martha Kent. You think you can threaten my mother? He blows up this petrol station, and a lot of critics of that film are saying, oh, well, Superman wouldn't do that. He'd care about the collateral damage around him. Well, this isn't Superman yet. I think David Goyer explained it brilliantly. This is Superman Begins. This is a guy who's got these human traits, and he does lose his temper in Man of Steel quite a bit. And he's got I like the fact that he's got human traits, and he's got these human traits in BVS. I like his attitude towards the Batman, as they call him, in Batman versus Superman, where, he's seeing Batman stamping criminals, and he sees him as this vigilante, and he doesn't like it. Superman doesn't approve of the way he does things. And this proves that Snyder's Superman is the Superman from the comics, because he sees what Batman's doing, within the press and within the media. He doesn't like it. So when he faces him the first time, and he warns him, not to shine his light in the sky again, right? The bat is dead, right? Call this mercy, right? In a lot of ways, it's like what I said yesterday in the reaction to Donald Trump. We've all gone down Trump's level, and that means Trump wins. So what happens in BVS? Batman and Superman go to Luthor's level because Luthor wants them to. He manipulates them to. He gets them to embrace their hatred for each other, even though they are the solution and Luthor is the problem. But Luthor sees Batman and Superman as a threat, and he wants them wiped out. He doesn't want anyone policing him. He's the savior. He's the main man. He's powerful. He doesn't want anyone taking his power. And that's what BVS is truly about. It's about power. Who should have it and who shouldn't? As the senator from Kentucky says quite rightly, should Superman intervene unilaterally? And it's a big question. Should he? It's one of the questions of the movie that wasn't debated because we can't have intellectual debates about movies and politics anymore. It's all about, well, this movie sucked a bunch, didn't it? It's because you don't have the intellect to have a kind of intellectual, critical, constructive debate about a film. So you just come out and hate on it because you don't understand, because you've just seen the Avengers and you think every other superhero movie should be like the Avengers. But if everything's the same, what legacy does it have? What longevity does it have? And that's the issue here with Batman versus Superman. Batman versus Superman split the movie consumer because they didn't understand it, because they've been dulled down by Feig's way of doing films, which is easy. Every Feig movie, apart from Infinity War, apart from Captain America and the Winter Soldier, there's no depth in them whatsoever. They're all a New Hope, basically. The New Hope, and Star Wars: A New Hope is literally a very easygoing film. It sets stuff up. And what the Feig movies do quite well is set stuff up. But nothing deep ever happens, as I say, apart from of Infinity War and Captain America, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And I think that's one of the top MCU, if not one of the top superhero movies. There's no question about that, alongside Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. But Batman versus Superman does something very, very brave. As I say, this is the second movie in this franchise. It is The Empire Strikes Back, but it goes deeper than The Empire Strikes Back, because The Empire Strikes Back doesn't have the guts to focus its last scene on Han Solo, frozen, right, in carbonite, right? That could have been the last image. But Batman versus Superman, last image is Clark's coffin, right? And the Earth suddenly rising. That's a very, very compelling image. It says, look, we all know he's not dead forever. We know that anyway, because it's Superman. But what Snyder's saying there, why is the Earth rising? What's going on? Is he about to burst the coffin open? Or is something else happening here? It's a question. And that was very exciting to look forward to Zack's Justice League movie, which we weren't going to get up until earlier this year. So that's one of the exciting things of having this continue. You see, Snyder kind of injected some very deep, raw themes in this movie. As I said, about acceptance, about this alien. Should he be here? Should he be intervening unilaterally? As the senator from Kentucky asked, played wonderfully by Holly Hunter. I think she's one of the, underwhelming. I think, as far as I'm concerned, she's an overwhelming, great character, but people don't seem to talk about her. That's the word I'm looking for, underrated character from the film. She's one of the most important, and she only realizes that she's wrong, like seconds before she dies. I like that. She doesn't believe Superman should act unilaterally until the lady tells her that she lied because Lex Luthor told her to. It's then she understands what's going on. But when she looks across the kind of desk, when she's in the Senate building talking, then she realizes who Superman actually is. She knows she's wrong. That's how I read into it. And that's why it's a really, really compelling moment where she is as bad as everybody else. She doesn't believe Superman should act. But of course he should act, because people should always help. People should always try and make the world better rather than worse and profit for themselves. Clark, in Batman vs Superman, is slowly embracing being a hero. But what I find fascinating about it's the way he's doing it, and he's not quite sure if he should be doing it. I like that. Now, people call this a deconstruction of Batman and Superman. I don't think it's a deconstruction. I think it's an examination into both of the characters. When you see Superman, going to Puerto Rico, wherever he is, and it's the Halloween, or it's the Year of the Dead, or whatever they call it, right? And all these people have got hands on him after he saves the child from the burning building, and you can see the look on his face. It's like, wow, well, I don't know if I can handle this. All these people, having this expectancy of me, looking up to me. This is a big role to play. A fan actually put something else onto that moment, saying that he's still looking at the building, wondering how many people he didn't save. I think that's a really, really compelling moment. And Smallville does this very well. Clark's always feeling guilty about the meteor shower and who's been affected by it. And he blames himself, even though he had no way of knowing. Jor-El, when he sent him to Earth, had no way of knowing that the meteor shower was going to infect so many people. And by infecting Lex Luthor, creating something incredibly dangerous. That's why the Smallville concept is so powerful. And there will never be a series based on Superman so compelling and so wonderful. And this is what BVS does. BVS has Superman questioning his role as Superman. He says to Lois, Superman, it was just a dream from a farmer, by a farmer from Kansas, right? Superman was never real. He starts to doubt it. He's doubting it all along. This isn't something he chose for himself. And that's what I like. Clark wants to choose this role for himself. He doesn't want it chosen for him. Now, in Superman the movie, in the Reeve franchise, it's kind of chosen for him, and he says, yes, sir, that's fine. Now, in the Donner cut of Superman 2, an interesting moment in the Fortress, when he wants to be with Lois, and, Jor-El's saying, what, you're going to, you're saving these people, you've been given this big role, and you're just going to, Jor-El's questioning him. And then Superman says, but what about me? Don't I get happiness? Don't I get to make my own choices? I like that. In Smallville, Clark chose to become the hero at the end of the series. It was something he chose. He was kind of tugging away from Jor-El's commands and Jor-El's trials all throughout the 10 seasons. And I think that's great. And I think this is what's happening in BVS. Clark's Superman at this point. He's saving people, but he's not sure if he wants to do this, if he wants this responsibility. I remember being a young man and quitting job after job after job because I didn't want the responsibility. It scared me. And Clark's been put in this big position where everyone's looking to him all of a sudden. So half the world are looking to him, half the world are not. It's as Lois as Lois Lane says. In BVS, she, puts her hands on the S-shield and she says, this means something. It did on my world. Clark doesn't believe that he's believed it. That's the problem. There's so much hatred aimed towards him. He gets blamed for what happens in Africa. He gets blamed for what happened in the Senate building. Because he has this big power, everyone sees him as a threat partially. So he can be their hero, but he can also be the one to blame. So I think Snyder analyzes Superman in a wonderful way. And this is what people didn't get. And the danger of Superman, when we see in the nightmare sequence, when obviously something's gone down with Lois dying. I assume that's what happens. That's the rumors. I think Zach even confirmed that on Vero. And he kills Batman because he blames Batman for the loss of Lois Lane. And there's lots of theories there that maybe something happened between Lois and Bruce. So all these things we're obviously going to find out in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I'm really, really excited about. But I just wanted to kind of examine Batman versus Superman and really talk with you guys about how this film really did change everything. A superhero movie with depth, which basically, because of its depth and because of its bravery. Now, publicly, filmmakers and the public were saying it was a rubbish film, but as I say, it didn't stop Mangold doing Logan and Feige basically doing Infinity War. Without Batman versus Superman, these directors would never have had the guts to do those films. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DC Multiverse Daily. See you again soon.